Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Last Word Sports. We're here today. We got the gang minus Fletch, me, Nick, and Scott. And today we're bringing you our top 3 picks for who we think is going to win Most Improved Player of the Award this upcoming season. Now, because this is such a difficult award to predict, we are not going out and staking our reputations on these guys. These are just guys we think that are going to make jumps this upcoming season. Now, who would like to start with their third pick?
I think Nick should get us started.
I'd just like to say something real quick. I think this is one of the most fun awards to predict. Looking at all these young guys in the NBA and trying to predict who's going to make the biggest jump this year is actually really fun to look into the stats. I think my number 3 for this year, and I do have a lot of honorable mentions, which we could probably mention a little bit later.
Any honorable
If you just want to mention
Markelle Fultz and DeJounte Murray both have a pretty good chance at making big jumps this next year. I guess you could also include Christian Wood, and Christian Wood is one of my favorite players. But
Is Christian Wood an honorable mention for
Yes,
you?
he is an honorable
He's
mention.
not on your list!
But the thing
Oh
is,
my goodness!
the thing is, he would be on my list if I knew for a fact the Rockets were going to trade either Harden or Westbrook.
That's literally what I came in here, because if he was on your list, I was about to flame your ass. I was going to be like, dude, Russell Westbrook always grabs boards over his big man.
Yeah.
He's got DeMarcus Cousins as well.
Okay.
The Christian Wood's ceiling
Here's
on the
the
Rockets
thing.
with those guys is Clint Capella.
Here's the thing, all right? For one, Christian Wood is a phenomenal shooter. But with this Rockets team, I'm looking at the usage percentage. Harden last year, 36%. Westbrook, 34%. DeMarcus Cousins on the Warriors while being injured 2 years ago, right? 28% from the usage. He's barely going to get the ball if Harden or Westbrook doesn't get traded. I think Harden, for his growth personally, Harden would need to leave. I think Westbrook would target his big man a little bit more if they could shoot a little bit better. I think...
We don't know. We've never had a big man who could shoot with Westbrook.
Yeah,
so.
Christian Wood obviously played phenomenally when Andre Drummond was out for the season. 23 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. 2 assists per game, a block and a steal. 56% from the field and 40% from 3.
How many games was that stretch over?
That was over 14 games or something like that. But he is a future great player. He just needs to play more, you know. But for my real number 3, I would have to go with Gary Trent Jr. And the reason why I say this guy is because during the regular season, 21 minutes per game, 9 points per game. 21 minutes per game, 9 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, 1 assist per game, and 1 steal per game on 44% from the field, 42% from 3. He's 21 years old. That's a pretty dang good season for a 21-year-old. But in the bubble, this is where he really shined. He had 17 points per game, 1 steal on 51% from 3 on 8 attempts and 52% from the field in 34 minutes. I think with this Blazer team, he's going to get a little bit more time to play. Compared to last year on the bench, he didn't actually get that much time as he should have.
Until the bubble hit.
And he played the 3.
He'll probably be our 7th man this
Yeah,
year.
he played the 3 while he was on that Blazer team for that bubble stretch. And the reason why is because they didn't have Trevor Ariza, they didn't have Rodney Hood, they didn't even have Rocco.
Because he wasn't on the roster
yet. But anyways, I think Gary Trent is going to make a big step up this season. I think he is going to be the Blazers' guy coming off the bench. He might come in for clutch times to guard the best perimeter player on the other team. But I really do think this guy has the skills, the environment to really set him up for the future.
Okay, that's a pretty good argument, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. So, if we look back through every Most Improved Player of the Year award from probably 2015 and on, it's all guys who are starting on teams that weren't playoff caliber to teams that became playoff caliber because of their increase in play.
Can I stop you for a sec? The Blazers were the 8th seed last year. Nick predicts them to finish as a top 4 seed in the West.
Because of Gary Trent Jr.?
Well, actually, because of
the
whole
7th
team.
man, when Stotts and Olshey have both said Melo will be coming off the bench this season and providing valuable minutes for the second
Melo
team.
and Gary Trent played very well together while on the floor.
That's not the point.
I'm just saying.
That is not the point
I think Gary
I'm
Trent
making.
will steal Rocco's spot by the end of the year.
Do you really?
Look, man, Gary Trent's number 3 on my list, too. I think the reason why he's so great is the way that he meshes with the guy like Damian Lillard because he can play
Which
off
is
the ball.
fair, and I understand
He's a great
that.
perimeter defender. He's 6'5", he's lengthy, he hustles hard, and his ability to just catch and shoot, he doesn't impede. Dame and CJ are great players, but CJ is kind of a smaller Dame. He needs the ball in his hand.
Understood.
He needs to go ISO across
Takes
the
the
guy
ball
out.
away from Dame.
Gary Trent
He don't
can
need the ball
hang
in his
out on the
hand.
perimeter, take the tough guy for Dame to guard. He can
Yep.
free up Dame on offense to just focus on that. And he can just hang out, drip threes, which he did in the bubble.
Yep,
So
understood.
I think he's going to take a jump in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game. And on top of that, I didn't love a ton of the other candidates, and that's why Gary Trent's there. He's my number 3 pick. He's not the most likely.
100% understood, but once again, you're counting on Rocco playing bad or not playing to Gary Trent's level.
what the
You're
thing
counting
I'm
on no,
thinking-
you're counting on Rocco not playing at the same level as Gary Trent.
Oh, Rocco could play the 4, and it could be whoever's the 3 spot, which could be Rodney Hood or
There's
Derek
no
Jones
reason
Jr.
to believe that Zach Collins is going to stay healthy or play well enough to
Understood,
retain
understood, but that's a
a
lot of ifs, is what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm blocking your face. That's a lot of it.
Well, the whole award is projection. The whole award
I
is
understand,
projecting
but
that
if
the guy's gonna
we're
get better.
looking back on
especially-
past award winners, this is what I did my research on. I look back on past award winners: Brandon Ingram, Giannis, CJ, Jimmy Butler. All of those guys were average starters on their teams that escalated that next year and made the playoff push.
But also
this
their
is why
minutes
my
per
number
game
Brandon
all
Ingram didn't
increased.
make the playoffs.
of
their
course,
minutes per
because
game
they
all
were playing
increased.
better.
Yes, yes.
Because they were playing better.
The Pelicans
This is
were
why
just as bad with
I understand, but they at least made the bubble.
But they're still...
Yeah, but they were like
they're
the-
still
But they were
11
they had
seed
the
in the
number
West.
1 pick that year, and they were like the 10 seed in the West.
They were still...
Well,
pretty
but
bad.
having the number 1 pick in the lottery doesn't mean you're the worst team.
Okay, but
The
they
Knicks
still had.
should have had the number 1 pick. If we can talk about that, should have had Kyrie.
Shots.
Should have had Kevin Durant. They should have had Zion Williamson.
And Anthony
Chuck.
Davis. Don't forget Anthony
Yeah,
Davis.
and Brandon Ingram. I
And
don't know
Brandon
why
Ingram,
he
everyone
resigned
else.
with-
But this is why my number 3 pick is actually Jaren Jackson Jr. He had a solid
Great
season.
pick.
He had a solid season last year. Probably 17, 18 points a game.
Yep, 40%
If the
from
Grizzlies
three.
and
Incredible
if-
shooter.
Incredible shooter, great defender, and if the Grizzlies want to make a playoff push, which I'm hoping they will because they're a very fun team to watch, he's got to be that solid number 2 guy who can come out, put 19, 20 points a game.
Chuck,
He was
Jaren
another-
Jackson was my honorable mention. I was about to bring him up.
He's another
I love
honorable
him,
mention
but
for me.
He's coming off of a torn meniscus, and he's going to miss the start of the season, and that's where I was kind of like,
Understood.
The season's
Yeah.
probably going to be a little shortened. He's going to miss the start. I don't know if he'll integrate super well back in when he gets back healthy. Maybe come playoff time, he'll be back to normal, but I don't think this year is the year where he's going to take a step
Agreed.
forward.
I think next year, not this year,
year
he's
after,
going to
he's
explode.
gonna-
I think he
yeah,
could become
absolutely.
a superstar in this league. He is
great.
a phenomenal player.
And the other guy I wanted to put as an honorable mention is Michael Porter Jr. To me, he's
Yep.
very similar like a Gary Trent type of role. Is the problem is
Very
I
different
think
players, though.
Well, no,
Very different
obviously,
play style,
but I'm
yeah.
saying like where he could be like the number 3 scoring option on this team if things go well. But my problem with Michael Porter Jr. is he needs the ball in his hand and he doesn't play any defense.
Yep.
He's going to take and make fearless shots. So he's taking the ball away from Jokic and Murray, who are better and more proven options.
Yep.
So I don't know. He already had some chemistry problems with him in the playoffs. He was
Yep.
like, "We need to pass the ball. Like I need the ball more," type of stuff.
And then he got like what? He got like benched next to him or something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think
right?
Gary
he
Trent
wasn't
fits
playing.
better.
He had like Torrey Craig in there or something.
Exactly. And they did lose Torrey Craig and Jeremy Grant, which frees up a spot for him. But I think Gary Trent fits better in the Portland system.
I agree. I think that would be... When it comes to Gary Trent, I think he's just going to have a big role on this Portland team, and his stats are going to come up. And, I mean, if you looked at how he played in the bubble, I mean, you really can't be surprised if he exploded into like a 15-point-per-game kind of player off the bench on extremely high efficiencies and great defense.
Understood. All right, give us your number 2.
My number 2, all right, is Malik Beasley. And I'll tell you why I like Malik Beasley.
Number
2.
Okay.
All right? The reason why...
Number 1 check.
The
No,
reason
he's
why
not
I
my-
don't
he's
have
not
him
on my
number one-
list.
The reason why I don't have him at number 1, all right, is because he's coming off and he's playing.
He just averaged 20 points a game.
Yeah, but
Well,
no,
in
not
like- in like
just
10
the
games.
10 games
Yeah.
in the end of the season. But anyways, Anthony Edwards was just drafted, and obviously at the number 1
That's why
pick, he's going
not
to
on
take
my
a lot of
list.
play
They
time.
just drafted
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards at the number 1 overall.
That's
pick.
true. But he probably could come off the bench as a point guard or a shooting guard and
Yeah.
Yeah, but
provide
no one
really
win-
big
No
minutes.
one wins that award coming off the bench, though.
I mean, you could.
You could, but no one has in the past 10
23.
years.
He's 23 years old. Let me just.
That's
continue.
not the point.
Let me just say some things. He's 23 years old. All right. In the last 15 or so games at the end of the season, averaged 21 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 47% from the field, and 43% from three. All right? I know Anthony Edwards is going to take the ball a lot from him. I mean, he's the only Power 5 freshman guard who has had an over the 30% usage percentage. So he's going to take the ball a lot. But this Malik Beasley guy is talented. He's a very talented shooting guard. And especially if
he's been that way since college.
They're considering
Even with
trading
the
him.
Nuggets, you
They're
know.
considering trading him. And I think
that's
the
a
Knicks
good
I
would be
think
a
you
really
should
good-
trade
If
him.
he
I think
gets
you should.
traded, then yeah. My
I
problem
think the
is
Knicks
it's
should
just
definitely try.
This is
to
where
trade
you
not
him.
only with
This is where you
Anthony
deal
Edwards,
high if you're Minnesota.
D'Lo and Cat are going to take so many more shots than him.
Yeah.
Right? And they put Anthony Edwards ahead of him, who's also, a guy who likes to go score and get his buckets, high usage rate, like you mentioned.
But this guy is very talented as an offensive player, and I think especially if this trade, they're not done trading yet. They always could trade Malik to like the Knicks or somewhere that he could actually work
Somewhere where there's absolutely no one in front of him on the depth chart.
That is true. But he is going to be
Unless
a
he's
future
playing the
great player.
power forward position.
Stop. Chuck.
Obi Toppin. Julius Randle.
Next year, when we get, I think his name's Cade Cunningham, we're going to make the playoffs. Be top 5 seed in the East.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we're going to have Cade Cunningham.
Call me when
at
you
the
get
one.
Mikey Williams
We're
in
going to
like
have
5
RJ
years.
Barrett. Shut the hell up, Chuck. We're going to have Emmanuel quickly coming off the bench, dripping threes. We're going to have Obi Toppin cooking, Mitch at the 5. We could use a 3.
It's okay, Scott.
You got big
It's
hair
okay.
Alfred Payton.
It's okay.
Alfred Payton. He's a good leader.
But anyways, I think Malik Beasley is a future star in the league. I think he could end up becoming a really big time player. He just needs the shot, and he needs the,
I agree. I agree with you on that, but not when he stays in Minnesota.
not if he stays in Minnesota. But that's why I
Again,
put him at
think
my number
maybe
2.
the year after this, when he's on a new
Yeah.
team with a.
They signed him to a big
extended
contract too, so I mean he's going to be on there for a while unless they decide to trade him.
Got you. Scott, who's your 2?
role. My 2 is Christian Wood. So I
Why?
know. Listen,
Why,
Chuck,
dude?
here's the thing. I expect Harden and Westbrook to be gone. I think they're going to start the season with the 2 guys on the Rockets, and because there is literally no market at all for Russell Westbrook. The Knicks and the Hornets were the top 2 teams that wanted him. Neither of them is
And the
interested
Hornets
anymore.
spent their entire salary
Yeah.
cap getting Gordon
And the
Hayward.
Knicks are not going to get him. The only team that is remotely interested is a lateral, probably negative swap where you get John Wall in exchange for Westbrook, where he's a 30-year-old guard who hasn't played in 2 years, coming off a bad injury, who's slightly worse than Russell Westbrook and also wouldn't work with James Harden. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I think they're going to realize after a couple games, Harden's out. And once Westbrook's out, Harden's out as well. And I think Harden's not going to go to Brooklyn because
I still
Kyrie-
think he's going to go to Philly, man.
I think Philly's the spot.
I think
Daryl
Philly's the
Morey's
best
going to
spot
work
for
a
him.
way to get him. So I think they're probably going to dump Westbrook and Harden, end up with Ben Simmons and Christian Wood. Ben Simmons running the point. But even if it's not Ben Simmons, I think Christian Wood will embrace a much bigger role as the season goes on, kind of explode. I think he's their main guy. They're really, to me, looking towards the future with the signing of a guy like Christian Wood. And like Nick said, he showed all the right signs trending upwards at the end of last season. He's got the scoring ability. He's got the size and length to be a solid defender.
He'd absolutely be my number 1 if it wasn't for the fact that he was currently playing behind James Harden and
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
And yeah, that's the reason why he's 2, not 1. Because, but Chuck, like seriously, Westbrook and Harden will be gone, man. They can't play together. And they don't want to play together.
I know they can't play
And they
together.
both want out of Houston. And
They love
everybody
each other,
knows
but
it.
they can't play together.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. What's your number 2, Chuck?
I got Kelly Oubre Jr.
I actually like it. The thing is, I think with Andrew Wiggins also on the roll, I mean,
That's the only what if.
Yeah.
That's my only what if. But here's my thing. Everyone has been saying Wiggins is going to take his game up to another level since he was a rookie. He's been the same player since he was a rookie.
that is true.
But that same player is 18 points per game, which is better than Kelly Oubre's ever been.
But
But
Kelly Oubre has been playing.
I
really
understand
well.
that. However, in this system now with Steve Kerr, Oubre is a better shooter. He's a better perimeter defender than Wiggins. Steve Kerr loves those types of guys.
He's a very good
good on
slasher
defense?
too.
Oh yeah, he's great on defense.
Very good. Very good.
Klay Thompson's out for the year again. Kelly Oubre is going to possibly
much
go into that second role with Steph Curry, maybe be the second splash bro now that Klay Thompson's out. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fair spot.
Draymond's still there. Wiseman's there getting boards now. I think this is Kelly Oubre's best shot in Golden State to get that award. Now, again, the reason he's only number 2 is because you got to think about Wiggins on the other end of the spectrum.
Well, yeah, they do have a bunch of guys between Wiggins, Oubre, and even Wiseman coming in who all could step up.
And get that number 2 scoring spot. However, I can't give it to Wiseman because Wiseman's an unproven rookie. I don't want to give it to Wiggins because Wiggins hasn't shown me anything since he was drafted. Yeah. And Oubre has been trending up his entire career. So that's why I think Oubre is going to take this step now that he's in the new system. That kind of plays to his strengths.
He better, man. The Warriors spent $95 million on that guy in 1 year.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous.
They had a luxury tax cap hit of like $80 million.
Yep.
Just by picking up his $14 million contract. So
yeah, I think he's going to be a very good player, and they got to use Curry's prime well, So I think it was a necessary pickup, to try and get the team a little bit better.
Injuries.
Yep. And going back on my other point, team that didn't make the playoffs, a team that could make the playoffs. If Kelly Oubre pushes them over the hump, gets them maybe the 5 seed.
Least surge back up towards.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But a lot of people could be saying that's just because Curry's actually back.
And once again, that's why he's at my number 2.
Yeah. All right. So for my number 1, this is a player that really showed out during the playoffs. Great defender, very versatile.
Wait, is that my guy? Keep talking.
Jeremy Grant?
No.
Okay. All right. So Jeremy Grant recently signed.
Grant end up?
He's on
Pistons.
the Pistons. And the reason why I say
Jeremy.
No, I think the Pistons brought in a new regime that's actually doing
They brought in like 5 free agents.
The thing is,
like the new organization heads
are a lot better.
They dumped everything, went for draft picks and young players. Like it seems like
Blake Griffin's still there, isn't he?
They really
they couldn't get rid of Blake Griffin.
He's like the Russell Westbrook of that organization right now.
They're working on it.
But Jeremy Grant, I think he's a really good young player. He's very versatile, very athletic, great defender. He does need to work a little bit on his scoring. In the playoffs, he averaged like 12 points. But that was because he was the 3rd option on this team, even 4th scoring option with Michael Porter Jr. on the floor.
Pretty good on OKC the year before, too. He's been slowly ascending.
He's been slowly ascending, right? And I think he's going to be a very good player on this Pistons team. And the reason why is because he's going to be the number 2 option on an awful team.
Understood.
He's got a pass first and a little bit of a scoring first point guard in Derek Jones. I mean, not Derek Jones. What the hell am I saying?
Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose. My bad. But anyways, I think he's going to definitely boost his points per game. His defensive numbers are going to go up because he's going to be playing a lot more minutes on this team because this team is not good. I think if he really does somehow miraculously bring this team a little bit closer to the playoffs, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
No,
but if he brings them close, I think he definitely could have a chance at this moment.
And Nick, I like this pick. However, I do not think there is a shot in hell he will win the award.
Yeah.
Just because of what you said, there's no way they're going to be close to the playoffs.
Probably too.
I don't know. I think he's going to get his points per games up, which is going to be huge.
Absolutely.
I think he's going to get his defensive numbers
up.
But
once again, he was playing on Denver last year with Murray, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr.
All guys that took his minutes away.
Could not only that, but all guys that defenses are keying in on.
I like Jeremy Grant.
I do agree with that.
He's 26, and he hasn't really shown me that explode into a most improved player type of potential. But I definitely think he will have an expanded
Dude, what happened to his brother?
Like Jerry and
Grant? He was like a point guard for the Bulls a while back. What happened to that guy? What happened to that guy?
Yeah, I have no idea.
He disappeared. Scott, number 1 pick.
So it sounds like we all have different number 1s, which is cool. My number 1, you guys probably weren't expecting, is Collin Sexton. From the Cleveland.
Great pick.
I like that.
This guy really flew.
He's not my number 1.
I really like this.
He averaged 21 points per game on 47% shooting from the field and 38% shooting from 3.
Very underrated.
Like that's nobody talks about this guy.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland is actually gonna make the playoffs in the East this year as a low seed. I know it sounds
with the addition of Patrick Williams.
Their backcourt of Collin Sexton.
Chicago.
Oh, that was Chicago.
You're right. No, but that actually brings me to what I wanted to say. They added Isaac Okoro, who I think is actually going to be a really nice addition for them in perimeter defense.
Yeah.
They have the backcourt established in Garland and Collin Sexton, and if Garland can take a little bit of a step forward, along with Sexton, I think that'll be a really nice backcourt for years to come in the East. Okoro brings them that ferocious defense on the perimeter.
You got Kevin Love and
still
Andre
have
Drummond.
Kevin Love and Andre Drummond, who they're probably
Yo,
going to
Kevin Love is still there, man. Get my man out of Cleveland.
Of the franchise.
Get my man out of Cleveland.
They're both solid players, and they're there, right? Like, you look at these Eastern Conference teams, I think that could be good enough to make an 8.
It could be like a 7
And I think if Sexton goes
seed.
up to 25 points per game, which I can very much see happening, because
100%
Okoro's
I
a really
100%
good
agree.
player, but he's more of a defensive guy. He's not as proven of a shooter and scorer yet.
Yeah,
But
Sexton
Collin
might
Sexton
need
is a
lot of
really
touches.
underrated player.
Sexton
I was
might
actually-
need a lot of
He's
touches.
ferocious. He's getting better every year. He's the man in Cleveland. He's 21 years old, so I like his potential.
I was considering
like
making
that,
a
man.
post about
I
him on the
actually really
Instagram.
like that.
Yeah, I
Hoops
could-
and Heisman's, go follow.
I was gonna make a post about him on the Instagram account. I think I might have, I might not have, but
I might have, I might not have.
but I just
I
remember
could have, I couldn't
I was
have.
like,
You literally cannot.
Don't.
I just remember looking at his stats and I was like, wow, he actually is
My man can play.
killing it right
Man's-
now.
man's can
He's
play.
really underrated.
All right.
Yeah. Let's hear the number one, Scott. I mean, not Scott. Check.
I told them this would shock the world. I stand by this guy. I love this guy to death because he reminds me a little bit of me in a way.
Russell Westbrook. Breakout season for us.
Guys,
Yeah.
Oklahoma City lost Chris Paul
Is it Shea?
over the offseason. It's not Shea.
Because like Shea already had kind
I
of a
understand.
breakout.
He kind of
Al
he had that
Horford.
campaign last season. They lost Chris
Darius
Paul
Beasley?
over the offseason. They need a point guard. My man Lou Dort
Dort?
is going to
That
come
dude,
out
he's
of the
underrated.
Does
gate.
he play point though?
Yes, he plays point.
Really?
thought he was a shooting
he's a
guard.
bull.
He's a
I
big
thought he was a
dude.
shooting guard.
He's
dude.
like 6'4", but like
he's a tank.
no, he's a tank.
He's a
Yeah, I
running
know.
back, man.
I know he's a running
Yeah.
back. My man,
He had like 30 in Game 7, man.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
and he was
Splashing.
locking up Harden. That's
Yeah.
my guy
He's a
right there.
really good
That's
player.
my
Nice.
guy. Everyone knows
How
Shea
old is he
Gilgeous.
again? How old is he?
He's
He's 21.
Yeah, dude, this is
I
his
think
sophomore
he's
season.
more of
Yeah,
a shooting
wow.
guard, small forward type. Like he's not.
But
a
like
real
he can
ball
play
handler.
alongside Shea.
But yeah, absolutely. He'll have a.
I mean, he
he'll have a
averages
much
one
bigger role in this
assist.
team.
I mean, I think he'll.
Because
he
he
might play
didn't
the
play.
shooting guard.
Because he didn't play until like the bubble.
He was good in the
He
bubble.
he
He
was
was very
great
good.
in the bubble, and I'm basing this off of that. I'm
Absolutely.
saying because of his performance in the bubble, due to the fact that Chris Paul is gone, they need
Yeah.
a guy to step up.
Okay,
like
Not
that.
only
I'm
with the
gonna-
playmaking, because Shea can do that, but they need a guy to step up with leadership and defense.
Okay, I just want to say something
ahead.
real quick. You said that they need to make the playoffs or come close. I
Understood.
genuinely believe this team, this OKC
Mm-hmm.
team next year, is probably going to be like the 13th or the 14th.
And
We
that's
said
what I'm
that
saying.
last year though too.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
said that
But
last.
we did say that last year when they had a really good system around the point guards with,
We didn't know that system
Chris
existed.
Paul and Schroeder.
with Chris Paul, Schroeder, and then now.
We didn't
But they
know that
also
system
lost
existed.
Steven Adams. They lost Chris Paul. They lost
Danilo
Schroeder. They
Gallinari.
lost Danilo Gallinari.
Shit,
And they got a
Danilo
bunch of
Gallinari.
young
They
players.
lost.
I was
But
counting on Gallinari staying.
even if they don't make the playoffs, because your playoff argument, Brandon Ingram won the most improved player without
And they
making
didn't make the playoffs.
As long as
they
can
were
stay
close. If they can
relatively
yes,
competitive.
if they can stay
Yeah.
competitive and Dort can just be the guy that I want him to be, go off for like at least 23 points a game because he's an absolute bull. Stay consistent on the defensive end, maybe 2 steals a game, something like that. At least make
Yeah,
his
I mean
presence
that would be
felt.
he'd be an all-star if he did that, Chuck. That would be nuts.
Yeah, but Shea pretty much
if
did
he
that
can
last
get
year
up
as well.
to
He
like,
didn't get an
I mean,
all-star
23 and 2, like that's nuts.
Didn't
if he
Shea
can
get that
up,
last year though?
No, yeah,
I think Shea
he
was
averaged
like 17 or something.
No, it was
19.
like 19
averaged
or
20,
something like
didn't he?
that.
But
It
if
might
you're
have been really
averaging
close, but-
23 points per game and 2 steals, like I think if he can just get up to like 16, because he only averaged 7 last year. I know he didn't
Yeah.
play, but if he can get up to 16 or 17, I think he's got a real case for most improved player.
Yeah.
My man.
The thing is that I just don't think they're going to be able to make it competitive in the Western Conference.
I think
with-
they'll be more competitive than the Pistons.
I mean, even look at the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are bad. The Timberwolves are not a good team.
The Timberwolves have some talent though.
Yeah, I mean, they have some talent.
Some
But
turkey.
they have a much better.
Shout out Thanksgiving.
They have a much better chance at making like a higher seed than the Thunder.
So in other words, Chuck, you're wrong.
You're
Nick
wrong.
was stupid.
Makes
so,
sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But,
100%.
I think it really is. This is a really hard award to predict, but it's a very fun one. Thank you guys for watching. Chuck, do you have any closing thoughts?
Lou Dort, MIP. Let's go.
Scotty?
Yeah, I'll just close it for us. Thanks for watching, folks. As always, we really appreciate your viewership. We're starting to churn out more contests. We hope you guys get back on the viewing train. The NBA season is ramping up soon. We're still in the midst of the NFL season, so we got a bunch of sports going on here. It's a good time to be talking. Wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy it with your families if you can due to COVID. Just make sure everybody stays safe out there. Thank you for watching. I'm Scott Gebertz here with my boy Charlie Owens and Nick D. Ray. This has been The Last Word.